Hello everyone and welcome to Shell Point Today for Thursday, July 14th. I'm Dan Philgreen. On today's program, we'll find out about art therapy, memories in the making for those with dementia and Alzheimer's, and we'll get an in-depth tour of the chiller plant here at Shell Point that is responsible for keeping us all cool during these hot summer days. But first, we'd like to remind you of a once-a-month volunteer opportunity that is available with the pavilion. A backup person is needed to switch out the calendars of each room on the first and third floors. This is a great time for you to meet and greet everyone. If this sounds like the perfect fit for you, give Terry Colath a call at 454-2254. Also, there are many other great volunteer opportunities here at Shell Point. To find out more, give volunteer coordinator Beth Crenshaw a call at 454-2290. Tomorrow, there will be a fun seminar that simplifies nutrition. Age is Not a Gauge is the title of the presentation with health nut and motivational speaker Nicole Roy. She will explain how and why your age is not a gauge regarding how you are supposed to feel. Come learn how to eat better, live better, feel better, and play better through Nicole's popular Nutrition Epiphany program. It's in the Oak Room of the Woodlands beginning at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Don't forget to sign up at either service desk. Across the country, those suffering with dementia and Alzheimer's disease are participating in the arts as a way to improve quality of life and build connections, even into the mid to late stages of the disease process. Recently, Shell Point staff teamed up with the Florida Gulf Coast chapter of the Alzheimer's Association for a training in the Memories in the Making art therapy program. Participation in the arts is known to promote engagement and improve quality of life for those with cognitive impairment and their caregivers. Shell Point's Assisted Living Activities Supervisor, Morgan Clayman, is here today to tell us more about this art therapy program, which will be offered here at Shell Point beginning this month.
Hi, I'm Morgan Clayman, Assisted Living Activities Supervisor, and I'm here to share with you news about an exciting new program offering. Across the country, those suffering with dementia and Alzheimer's disease are participating in the arts as a way to improve quality of life and build connections, even in the mid to late stages of the disease process. Recently, Shell Point staff teamed up with the Florida Gulf Coast chapter of the Alzheimer's Association for a training of Memories in the Making art therapy program. Memories in the Making is ideal for residents with mid-stage dementia who have little to no artistic experience. Participants use art as a way to regain the ability to communicate and share feelings and thoughts that often can be difficult for the individual to share. Creative expression occurs through reminiscing and multiple art mediums, including watercolors and pastels. This newfound involvement in the arts is known to promote engagement and improve quality of life for those with cognitive impairments and their caregivers. The art projects create a sense of accomplishment and purpose. Engaging therapeutic techniques show these individuals that their stories and feelings have value and are of interest to others. Benefits of Memories in the Making can include improved self-esteem through creation of something of value, focusing on what the participant can do, not skills that have been lost, opportunities to socialize, a sense of accomplishment achieved in a failure-free atmosphere, satisfying a need for meaningful activities, productive outlets for emotions, increased attention span and focus, activation of brain neurons, recollection and expression of past memories, and reconnecting with loved ones. With encouragement from a trained art facilitator, these new artists glide their brushes on paper, forming meaningful works of art. Participants in this program can feel a real sense of accomplishment while living with memory loss. By focusing on emotional memories, the art becomes their voice. The Memories in the Making program will be offered as a weekly class over a 6-week period, starting at 1 p.m. on Friday, July 22nd. As part of the Arbor Day Respite Program, the activity is free to any Shell Point Life Care resident. Space is extremely limited, so if you are interested in having your loved one participate, please call Pat Turner at 225-2921 to begin the registration process.
Paul Bretones has a pretty important job, and a pretty big one. You might even say it's a pretty massive job if you judge it by the size of the machinery that he's in charge of. Whether you've noticed the industrial-looking structure just southwest of Eagles Preserve and north of the golf club or not, you've come to depend on it during the hot months of summer. This structure is the chiller plant, and Paul Bretones is the plant's manager. Today, we're taking you inside this amazing marvel to show you how a cool and comfortable interior environment is maintained inside most of Shell Point's buildings.
So, have you ever wondered how your apartment stays so nice and cool during these really hot summer months? Well, we're about to find out today as we take a tour of the chiller plant. We're going to go inside and meet Paul Bretones, and he's going to give us a tour and show us some of this fascinating equipment. Just one of these chillers can cool the equivalent of 400 homes. That's a lot. There's a lot of power, a lot of equipment here, and so let's go see what happens at the chiller plant. Well, we're inside the chiller plant, and I have Paul Bretones with me, and he is the facility operations manager for this mammoth place that makes a lot of noise, but keeps everything really cool. And especially this time of year, we all like to stay cool.
Yes, we do.
So, Paul, tell me a little bit about, I guess this is the Operations Control Center and a lot of this stuff and how you control it here, and really what does the chiller plant do as opposed to just having a regular commercial air conditioning unit like you would see in someone else's home?
Well, this is the office here. Everything is on automation here, so we can know what's going on at any given time through our smartphone or through a computer system. It is alarmed, it's monitored. The purpose of a central plant is actually to save electricity. Now, if you have your regular DX unit, which particularly runs about 1.2 or 3 kW per ton, this plant runs about 8.8 kW per ton. Wow. So the savings is right there. It also gives us lots of diversification, so if something goes down, Shell Point is not without any cooling for as many residents as it takes care of. From this point, it will take care of the 80% of the island, all of Eagle Preserve, and everything at the Woodlands.
That's incredible. And so the name chiller plant tells me it's not typical air, compressor unit like you would have. It chills something, right? So in layman's terms, tell us exactly what happens here.
There is refrigerant, but we're actually chilling water as our main purpose of a coolant. And we have we have 4 dedicated water chillers that run during regular hours, and we have 3 dedicated ice chillers that will make ice that will melt during peak hours of the day, which gives us a huge savings in our electric.
So, Paul, you're making ice during the nighttime and you're melting ice during the daytime. Explain to us simply what that means.
Simply, when we are making ice, the electricity is cheaper. There is not a demand for it. We melt ice during the hottest points of the day when electricity is in demand and everybody is using their air conditioners to cool everything.
So the cost of electricity basically is cheaper at night, and that's when you use the most of it.
Yes. We save anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000 a month in electricity.
Wow, that's a lot. So when this ice melts, it's chilled water that goes through pipes. Is that how it works?
Yes, but actually there is glycol, so it will not freeze. Just like antifreeze in your car.
Okay, all right.
It freezes the water, but will not freeze the machinery.
Okay. Before we go out and look at some of these tanks and some of this impressive equipment, is there anything you can show us here on the computer of how or you monitor this and what is monitored or controlled?
Okay, this is what the plant is running. This is all automated points, and I can tell what is running, how much, what pumps are running, anything that's running, anything that goes out of line, we do get alarms. And they will notify myself plus a couple other people. We'll also get alarms from FP&L if there's any power interruptions, so we can check, make sure that everything comes back online after the power is restored. As you can see here, right now we're leaving the plant at 43.9 degree water. We're coming back at 49.6. We're roughly pumping about 6,800 gallons of water through the system, and which the system consists of about 5 miles of underground pipe from this plant to the furthest point at Tarpon. All right, this system here goes out through all the property, which we can monitor all the buildings on the island, the woodlands, and Eagle Preserve. The only thing we do not monitor here is individual units. So at any given point, if somebody complains in a common area, church, pharmacy, any building of that, we can look and determine if we need to send somebody. We can also make adjustments to pumps, to thermostats, to controls, to systems right from here without having to leave unless we absolutely necessary have to.
All right, Paul, well, we're going to go out here now and take the nickel tour of this massive facility, and you can show us everything and what it does.
Okay, let's go.
Hey, what's something good to show? First this. Okay, Paul, so we're out here now at the facility, and it's really loud out here, so we're trying to talk a little louder, but this is what you called the leaving pumps. So what does that mean? Something's leaving?
This is the pumps that deliver the chill water throughout the system, which delivers water to Eagle Preserve, the woodlands, and to the island. This provides all the cooling out of this plant to all the individual air handlers and stuff needed.
So that noise that I'm hearing, is that the pumps that are running?
Yes, it is. Actually, we're on quiet time now. The plant actually is 3 times as loud during normal operation. We're in our ice melt mode now, which to us it's quiet.
Wow, so do you wear some kind of ear protection when you're out here, or are you just used to it?
No, if we're going to be out here long term, we will put ear protection in. But as you need, just walking through the plant, it's not necessary. It's based on a 8-hour constant noise level.
Okay, so these pumps are sending everything out to the different communities. What happens next? Where do we go now?
Okay, the first chiller we're going to come to now is what we call one of our dedicated ice chillers, and the next 2 following it are also, their sole purpose is to make ice. They are each 1,200 tons, which they will take all 3 of them running from 9:30 this evening when we shift our load to approximately 8 a.m. in the morning to freeze all 240 ice tanks out back.
Now, what's the maintenance of all these? Do you pretty much install these and they just run forever, or do you have to do something from time to time?
Oh, no, there are 4 maintenances done a year on each chiller. That is done by an outside vendor, which Train will maintain them for us. That's why we maintain them the best that we can, never saying there's ever going to be not a failure, but we do have some redundancy built in, some diversification. So if something does happen here, there's means to change things around and keep everybody happy and cool.
So one pump going down is not going to be a detriment to everything. You've got enough redundancy to keep going.
Oh, we have spare pumps. As you can see, there's one motor there that will take care of an evap. We do have every spare part that we know we can change, because we're not going to order something and get it off the shelf and have it here tomorrow. So we have a spare pump for every size pump we have here. We have spare motors for our towers. We have seals. We have breakers. If the breaker fails, we can get up and going within a few hours.
Almost like you have your own parts department right here, because it's not like you can go pick this stuff up at Walmart in the middle of the night.
No, we can't. So that's why it was given to us that we do maintain any of our larger parts that we cannot get shipped the next day. Okay, so all the pipes that have the yellow banding are on the glycol system. There's about 50,000 gallons worth of glycol, 50,000 gallons of glycol in this system. And that's the identification, so we know that has glycol. The green banded pipes are just regular chill water. Total in the system between the plant and the underground is about 500,000 gallons of water in the system. This pump we're facing right now is a glycol pump. It circulates the glycol through one of the ice tanks, which we'll go out and see shortly. Okay, now we're coming up on our ice tanks, which we call it our ice farm, which there is 240 of these tanks. There are 120 upstairs and there are 120 downstairs. Yeah, it's just a solid chunk of ice in there with a coil that runs down with the glycol, runs through that, and just through thermo expansion, I'm going to say, is the easiest term, that it will melt the ice. Glycol pumps, the heat exchangers that we're running inside, is what will melt it because it's a different temperature. One of these tanks, if it was not online for any purpose, it would take approximately a week to melt. 7 to 10 days to melt it.
So 240 of these tanks you have to keep this place going.
That's correct. And if we do any more expansion and we decide to go with the same thing, we'll have to add more tanks and additional chillers. But we are pretty much maxed out here.
So Paul, what are we looking at here?
Actually, we're looking at one of the cooling towers. Each set of these goes to a chiller inside, which actually cools the machine down and cools the refrigerant. We use water for cooling instead of air.
So how many of these are here?
Okay, this, I'm going to call it a cell. This first cell is 600 tons. There are 2 of them per chiller in there because the chiller is 1,200 tons. So we did it on 2-cell purpose because during the winter you may not have to run both towers to cool this machine.
But in the summer it takes 2 of them to cool one machine.
Oh yeah, it does.
Okay, Paul, so where are we now down here in the bottom?
I would call this the hot side of the plant. This is where your pumps are that would send the heated water up through the towers so they can cool the chiller upstairs. And onto your right over there, or your left, my right, are all the boilers that would send the hot water for the heating of the Woodlands property and Eagle Preserve, which also goes through a heat exchanger, which gives all those buildings their domestic water. There are no boilers, no hot water heaters, nothing in that portion of the property. It all comes from this plant.
Okay, Paul, so I see that even if you're not here on the property, you can address some of the issues. Is that right?
That's correct, Rich. You asked the question what it would take to bring another piece of equipment online if we weren't here. Well, we can go through our smartphones. Right now we are bringing up the plant. Just give it a minute to load and you'll have the same picture on my screen on my phone as I will have in my office.
Look at that.
So we are actually looking at the plant. It could be anywhere you have a Wi-Fi connection or 4G or whatever, and you can bring it up, make all your changes, and there's no interruption. It also gives me time, if I change something around, to get here and assess why it went down and make repairs, so we always have that unit on standby. But I'm going to say 80% of the time it can be fixed through an app.
That's much better than the good old days when you had to get in your car and drive all the way down here.
Yeah, it is. Not saying I don't wind up here a few nights. Like last couple weeks I was here from 12 at night to about 4:30 in the morning, which nobody knew what was going on because the place was cool, but I know I had to get things back up and running for when the temperature was warmer during the daytime.
So if you want to thank someone for keeping you cool in these hot summer months, this is the man right here. Mr. Paul Bretones is on the job day or night.
Basically, yeah.
Pretty much like the mail.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And now it's time to cover all today's happenings, Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Well, hello and welcome. This is the happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Katelyn Van Scoy.
I'm Beth Chandley.
And we're both going to give you the information for Thursday. We start bright and early at 7:15 with the Health Connections class, Bend, Breathe, and Balance. That's in the Tarpon room. And the Men's Golf Association group will be meeting at the Shell Point Golf Club at 8 o'clock. Also at 8, Pickleball will be available at the game courts. And the round robin doubles tennis will be going on at the Woodlands tennis courts at 8. The Paddlers Club group will be heading from the Kayak storage for their weekly outing, and they leave at 8:30. And then we move to 9:15 for Shuffleboard. That'll be available at the Shuffleboard courts. Current events will be discussed at 9:30 in the game room of the Woodlands. And ladies match play tennis is going on at 9:30 at the Woodlands. The hospitality room will be busy with movies for women at 9:30. That's at the Village Church. And Introduction to Beginning Line Dancing will be held in the Tarpon room at 9:45. Now we're moving to 10:15 for Basic Line Dancing in the Tarpon room. The Susie Q heads to Fathoms and Through the Locks, and they leave at 10:45. That's it for the morning. Here's Bev to tell you all about the afternoon.
Thank you, Caitlin. At 12:45, we'll have Mah-Jongg being played in the Library Lounge on the island. And at 1:15, it's Samba. The card game will be in the Resident Activities Center. Fun and Fitness will be in the Community Room of King's Crown at 1:45. And at 2 o'clock, the Stamp Ministry will be down in the Tunnel Stamp Room. At 2:45, you'll find Balance Basics in the Tarpon Room on the island. At 4 o'clock, our Seamstress will be here for her weekly service. She'll be in the Osprey room on the island. At 4:30, Alcoholics Anonymous meeting will be going on in the Sabal room of the Woodlands. And Pinochle will be in the Library Lounge on the island at 6:30. At 7:30, we have a summer concert with Ethan Uslan. He's a ragtime pianist. He'll be at the Village Church. Ticket is required. Well, we're happy you joined us today, and we will see you back here again tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath, and I'd like to invite you to consider the Pavilion Auxiliary. This is a core of resident volunteers who look to making life easier and more cheerful for all of our friends in the Pavilion. Please give me a call if you would like to hear about current opportunities. And I'd like to say that tomorrow in the Academy, we have that walk-in iPad, iPhone, Mac clinic, where you can come in just with your device and your own personal question.
Menus for Thursday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is grilled ham steak with baked sweet potato and summer squash. The dinner special is the Crystal Carving Board for $15.95. The soup of the day is country cabbage. In the Island Cafe, the sandwich special is a grilled 3-cheese sandwich on challah with a cup of soup for $7.75. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are New York strip with porcini mushroom sauce for $19.95 or chicken Florentine for $14.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, I'm Dotty Morrison, and I'm here today with a special guest, Lisa Munson. Her parents are David and Sarah King of Macoma, and some of you who attended our speed dating global outreach a few months ago might remember her as one of the participants in that event. So thank you for coming today, Lisa.
Thank you.
Now, you're going to talk on Wednesday, July 20th at the Global Outreach meeting. And let's talk a little bit about your background and what you might be talking about. You're a teacher in the Delight International School.
That's correct.
Tell me a little bit about that school.
Yes. Well, I've been there as a student as well as a teacher. Yeah. And but I teach PE and health at Delight International School. Uh-huh. And it's an international school for both missionary kids as well as just local international kids. There's about 26 different nationalities represented at the school.
Wow. And it's a boarding school. Some people come and stay there. Okay.
That's
and
right.
You coach as well as teach.
I'm
what
also
do you
a volleyball coach. Yes,
All
which I
right.
love. So that's
Okay.
really fun.
And you have 2 kids.
Yep.
Who are in school there?
Yes, Daniel and Julia. They're 16 and 17 years old. So.
Wow. Okay. So you'll be talking a little bit about the school and what you do there. And I know that you have a heart connection with the students because not all of them share the same faith journey as you do.
That's correct. Yes.
So what kind of variety do you have in students there?
I have business students who have no background in having any sort of faith at all. Some are Buddhist, some are Hindu, some are Muslim, and some just are seeking. I also have a good portion that are Christians, and I have the opportunity to share their faith as well.
Okay, and these other students know when they come there it is a Christian school.
That's correct.
Okay.
They are
All right.
very clear up front. This
Okay.
is what we are.
All right. Now, I remember a few years ago you started a garden as kind of a project for a girls' club. What's happening with that?
Yes, it's continuing, it's growing, and there's opportunity to expand and connect with a refugee group as well, using both hydroponics and aquaponics, in connection also with ECHO. So.
How wonderful for these students to learn that kind of advanced gardening. Does that have high applications in your area for some reason?
Very much so. A large population of workers in Malaysia are actually migrant workers. They don't own a lot of property at all, and they're always moving, and often will be in places where they can't plant in the ground.
Okay.
So those different techniques are really sought after.
So you have made a connection with some teachers, and your
Yes.
kids are involved. Tell me about that.
Yes, so my son has been able to help teach English, and my daughter's been able to help care for kids in some child care during those English classes.
Wonderful.
And they've been able to have some great, hear stories and have an impact from the people that they're working with. And there's also another school of about 100 children of refugee kids that we're continuing to have connection with through our school, as well as just individually, people going and helping.
Okay. You told me a little brief sentence that one of the refugee teachers said to you about her goal. Tell me about that.
Yes, my good friend who's in charge of this one school with about 100 refugees, I asked her just a couple weeks ago, what do these students that come, what do they want to do?
Yeah.
And she said when they first come, a lot of them just want to be like a terrorist. They want a gun. They want to just react. Anyways.
No hope.
No hope. But after a year or two, they want to be a lawyer, they want to be a doctor, they want to be a teacher, and really the difference is the hope that they receive, that there's actually an option for them, that they have opportunity for the future.
Wow. Well, thanks for coming. I'm sure that this event that you're going to be speaking at on the 20th is going to be very insightful.
Thank you.
So we hope to see you on Wednesday, July 20th at the Village Church in the Hospitality Room. It starts at 10:15, refreshments at 10 o'clock. Come hear Lisa talk about her school, the gardening, the connection with Refugee School. There'll be a lot of interesting things going on. We hope to see you there.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. Tomorrow, Terry Kolath will visit with George Waters of Palm Acres to talk about his recent trip to Cuba. And we'll recap the top stories from this week. Until then, this has been Shell Point Today for Thursday, July 14th. I'm Dan Philgreen, and from all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.